I need a longer cord.
Oh, and we're live. I've got the message. There's a message right up there. I see it, or maybe over
Now
here.
Facebook.
Live.
Okay. Okay, we're live.
Zoom, Facebook, live. Let's see here.
Let's go on to. I'm gonna watch this on Facebook at the same time. It's gonna be freaky.
There it is. Oh my goodness. Oh, what do I do? What do I do?
We got on there. Hey, Rich.
Hey, Rich. I can't hear him now. Rich,
I
can't hear you. Are you okay? Give me a thumbs up if you're being held hostage. You're being held hostage? Oh, you aren't. Okay.
No, I'm good.
Hostage.
And we're back.
I can.
The gang's over here.
Matt, I never know where to find our live videos on Facebook.
I get alerts to it. So.
Hey, where did
You're feeling very alert.
Yeah.
Matt totally got rid of himself.
He's disappeared. Yeah, he's in incognito.
Incognito, stealth mode.
Right, stealth mode. He's a ninja. He's our ninja producer. You'll hear us call on Matt. Matt, look over here. Matt, over here. Look at this. Look what I can do. Yeah, we're starting here soon. Soon, very soon.
There we go. I found us.
Grocery list. Rich is playing DJ Space Command right there.
So,
Yeah. I'm trying to find that video too.
how come I see Ryan's voice? Hey,
You guys
Steve.
ready? You ready to do this?
Logged in. I'm gonna get my. Have I got 1 minute? I'm gonna get my charger.
Whoa. So, Rich, how's it going? What time is
It's
it?
going good, man. It's about 7 in the morning here. I'm on island time.
Island time, yes.
Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
Better than mountain time.
Better
I
than
don't
mountain
know.
time. Yes. We got our first comment here. Steve
Uh-oh.
Salk said, "What the Brady Bunch? That's like the bad news Bears Brady Bunch."
I need to find it too. Kurt's got his.
Merlin. Hey, Merlin. I miss Merlin. I fell in love with Merlin the first time I ever met him. And he was just like, I was like, this guy, I love him. And I think we've only actually hung out like 2 or 3 times, but it's like he's my brother. Every time I ever see him, I just feel like I miss Merlin. I love Merlin. He's such a great guy. If I ever have another kid, I'm going to name him or her Merlin, because that's an awesome name. All right.
Merlin.
Merlin's awesome. Super good at playing everything. Plays everything. I heard him play sax. I was like, wow, this dude's pretty good. Then he picks up a flute and starts rocking. He's like a not local Wayne Leachford. You know.
Gotcha.
Wayne doesn't
Yep.
talk about Wayne. He's not watching our video.
He might. He might be.
He does.
Eventually.
Well, if he ever watches this, Wayne, I'm going to send you a free T-shirt if you ever watch this video. Okay. But if anybody,
Hey, don't give all these T-shirts away. They gotta. What are they gonna get you guys for this video that you're doing?
Oh.
They gotta share. What are we gonna give them? I think we should give them something.
Yeah, we should give him something. We didn't plan that out. Let's plan it out right now. And I mean,
I think we should.
I would like the opportunity to win because nary a T-shirt in my dresser at home.
Right, yes.
I'm pretty sure I helped pay for those.
This is all I wear now. Just MusicMedic T-shirts.
All right, let's do this. Are we ready?
I guess while you guys are doing that, I'm gonna think of a giveaway.
Good.
Okay,
Good trick.
Cool.
When you figure out the giveaway.
Oh, Wayne Leachford's on. He's watching.
What?
He's on.
Yes.
Oh. Hey Wayne, it's nice to see you. Long time to see. Haven't been talking about you in a long time. So,
All right.
Okay. So let's start. Ryan, you ready for this?
I am ready. I'm ready and set up. As you can see, I got all my supplies.
Awesome.
Got my hand on.
I have nothing but a saxophone, and I think it might be a problem. Okay, let's begin right now. Okay, folks, we are starting. Today, I'm pretty sure that today is going to be the coolest of all of our Wednesday Wisdoms, because you came here just to see the setup of a saxophone or some, but you're going to get a little bit of all around the saxophone and what to do. In setting up saxophones, me and Ryan have discovered that setting up new instruments is not like setting up it's not like setting up an old instrument after an overhaul, and it's also not like setting up a new instrument when someone comes and wants their new something they paid $6,000 for set up, right, Ryan? So that would be a different job where we would be changing a whole bunch of pads. Today we're going to talk about setting up an instrument to that is brand new, that just needs to play well and be the best instrument it can. And this is something that cost-effective wise needs to be done for people, but we can't go too far and make it too expensive. We know how, but we don't want to. We don't, that's not what we're trying to do. And we don't want to go too little and make it play less. And we've decided that we think we know what the main problem is with new instruments. And that includes our flutes, clarinets, and saxophones that we have been setting up. When it comes down to it, well, we'll tell you when we get into this video what the big deal is. But what we have is a checklist, and Ryan and I are both going to set up this saxophone. I might drop out, and we're going to try to get through the setup of this Wilmington. So 1, 2, 3, go, Ryan. What's first?
All right. What am I doing? I got my checklist here. We got printed up.
Checklist.
Nice list.
Yeah, the first thing we should probably mention is when we get them shipped in, we fully inspect the shipping boxes, make sure there's no damage. We open up the cases, and the first thing we do is we take the rubber bands or the clamps that are holding the pads shut. We find that we kind of let the pads kind of maybe fluff up a bit. Maybe they got compressed during transit. So that's the first thing we do ahead of time, usually when they first come in. Now I'm just going to go to town, just going through my checklist here. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit the neck, or at least check the neck.
We decided that checklist was this checklist, before we didn't have a checklist, and we were kind of just approaching it like looking at the horn and seeing what it is. But now we have a really thoughtful approach. And Ryan, interrupt me when you have something to share there.
Sure, we'll do. Yeah, just kind of checking the feel. And the first thing we noticed when we got these in is this edge on the receiver is a little too abrupt. We might want to kind of chamfer that, and that's part of on our list. Getting this lined up is a little tough. So we just kind of. Yep. We got a pick here.
Right there.
There we go. Yep, there it is.
You
yeah, man, go ahead. Zoom in on that pick there, man. There we go.
So this is the edge that we're trying to chamfer right here. And all these things you can ask, like, hey, why don't you just have this done at the factory? And that's right. That's the next thing, is to get these things done at the factory. But for now, we have to make these horns good with what we have from the factory. So we do this, we buy in small batches. So the next checklist will be far different. Keep going, Ryan.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. So here we are. See if you can see. Use the world's best scraper. Rich and I went over this. It is really the world's best scraper. Just kind of getting in there.
Old dog.
Hey, Andy DeMarco is saying he wants us to post the checklist. Can we just email that to? There you go, Andy.
Take a quick.
The problem is it's pretty specific to what we're doing. Keep going, Ryan. Keep going. We're gonna get through this.
Yeah, it is kind of specific to the Wilmington setup. So we kind of chamfer this neck, this receiver.
So the reason that we're doing the neck first is because we know we're gonna end up lapping this neck, and we don't want that lapping compound. We want to get that, if it's gonna be messy, we want to get it messy and then get that cleaned up before we start. This list is not done. This list is done in an order to make this process cost effective. That's the way we did this list. While we got this part off, you're going to see that the next stuff we do is monkey around with the neck because it's kind of in our hand while we're fitting it, right? So,
Right.
so we're trying to, and the list is really useful because if you just follow the list while you're following the list, you're like, why is this here? We should have done it up there. And then you just change the list and you rock it. So keep going on it. If you're setting up a lot of new horns, you know this already, but a list that's really clear. I got mine chamfered.
I missed some materials. I gotta go out real quick.
Go ahead. Can you see that?
So Kurt, you modify your list as needed for the Wilmingtons, or do you guys modify your list for other new horns as you set them up? So it's basically like a working list.
It's like a working list, and the point of the list is just to get through the Wilmingtons, right? But I think that some of the stuff is remarkably similar on any horn you set up. For instance, I can't imagine why we would go lapping a neck after working on the pads. I mean, not that it's going to damage it, but a little bit of lapping compound oozes down. We got to change the pad because we made a mess. Who knows, you know? It just makes more sense. And then as we go on, you'll see that it's we'll talk about some thoughtful things that we do that are quite different than a normal horn, right? So Ryan's got that neck chamfered.
Yeah, and we're just kind of checking the fit here. I used a little bit of keel just to kind of loosen it up, because that was one of the things we were setting up fitting necks on earlier batches. We'd maybe fit the neck a little too heavy, and so we got to think about the who's going to be using this. It's kind of a student horn, so students aren't going to be able to really push a neck in that's really tight unless you got a spare thing of toothpaste, right, Kurt?
That's right. That's right. So that all comes from me setting up my daughter's horn too tight in the neck, and then she couldn't put it together, and I was like, oh, and she's like, Daddy, I thought you were a saxophone repair guy, and I was like, well, I never told you the hack part. So now she knows the hack part.
So we've been fitting these necks a little bit lighter. We still make sure that they fit, and we do check, and that is key. Another other thing you saw me do is I took the neck key off. We put a little bit of bumper felt on there so you can't overextend or open the neck key and bend this spring out of proportion.
I got a picture of that, Ryan. If you're
let it happen.
I got a picture of that. See, that's what the key is doing.
Yeah.
And so we're eventually we're gonna put a little bar on here, but for now we just put a bumper right in that area. And this is the bumper, a little black bumper. And we're gonna put it. I'm gonna put one right there, and
like you said, Kurt, with the list here and doing things, and like you said, this doesn't make sense to do here. We can move it around. We can alter it. That's what I did. We talked about this earlier. Is I had down here to put paraffin wax on the neck cork. Kurt was like, well, it makes more sense if we did it when we're messing with the neck. And it's like, yeah, that's right. So now these neck corks come a little dry, so I'm gonna add some paraffin wax. This is just food grade canning wax, using the air torch to kind of heat it up here.
Hey Ryan, are you gonna show the actual fitting of the neck? Are you gonna come out and do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna come out there once I put this paraffin wax on.
It's gonna be hard to get through this and talk about it, so we might have to lighten up on some of these steps.
Yeah, we'll put a link on our other video we did about fitting necks. So you can start here. So yeah, I'm gonna come out there.
Okay, right on my cart.
Right, I'm masking up.
Oh yeah. You never know what Ryan's got. It's not just COVID that we're worried about with this guy. I mean, we used to wear gloves and everything around Ryan before. So
could have rape.
Yeah. With what?
Well, that's the reason we have the bandana.
That's right.
Hey, where'd you guys go?
Hey, we're coming here. I'm rolling my cart. See, there you go. There he is. Look at this guy.
Hey, fancy seeing you here.
Okay. So Ryan's gonna fit this neck. Great. All right. So you're putting I'll just hold my laptop up.
This is.
He's putting the neck checker.
Yep, neck checker. This is one of the prototypes. That's why it's still nice shiny aluminum.
Whoa, ugly shiny aluminum.
Yeah.
Now they're nice anodized.
Nice anodized blue.
Yep.
MusicMedic blue. Sorry, I get a nickel every time we say that. So putting that in there. One thing again about fitting a neck with a high F sharp key, I try to, I don't know if you can see it in there. I make sure that the gasket is kind of, you can see it sticking out so that it completely seals that hole. You don't want it so far up that the gasket hits the bottom of the neck, and that's giving you a false reading. So you can see in here, I have the gasket kind of sticking halfway through or partway down on the tone hole.
Good luck seeing that with my laptop. Okay. Look like a whole little gasket.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so here we are.
Okay, he's got the leak tester. This is not rigged. We don't know what this is going to be.
We don't know. This is the magic of
Here
TV,
it goes.
folks.
He's putting
Here we
this,
go.
he's
You
putting
ready?
this in.
And it's
And
a.
it is a, I can't see it. What is
I
it?
can't see. It looks like
It's
it's
a 6.
Oh no! Hold on. This can't be right.
Can't be right.
Fix it here. Okay.
The thing that's going to break your heart is we might not finish this and have to do it
Yeah.
later. We might only get it down to a 4.
So yeah, let's
Okay,
see.
so let's tighten it up.
Tighten it up. Yeah, so we got a 4. So there is a little bit of neck expanding that needs to happen.
Okay, so let's do it.
All right.
Hey, Kurt.
Yeah.
Hold that camera still while you guys are working.
Okay. Stop
I
yelling
don't
at
want to.
I got it on the cart. I got to hold my computer up and fix the saxophone, Rich. You know, you're just sitting there in
That's
your
right.
living.
Yeah.
You know, so we actually we're working over
I'm
here.
speaking for our audience here, so you guys, you get to work now.
Shop managers are really up. You know. All right, so let's
Put
see.
this back in here.
That looks great.
What'd you do, Ryan? You just expanded this a
I
little.
just expanded it just a little bit,
Okay.
a little bit at the top. So we'll go ahead and.
Go ahead. We're gonna work together. Feels pretty loose in there. What I do is I often am opening this up first because sometimes at the factory, maybe we want to talk about this and add it to the list.
Yep.
But I sometimes the people at a factory will just over tighten this screw to get the neck to hold, but they're not so worried about the whole thing. So these are the kind of things that when we go to China and we're training them how to do it.
Yeah. We still got a.
Still got a 4, so he's gonna
So
have
do
to
a
keep
little
going.
bit more.
Yep. So let me just clarify that. Sometimes at the factory, people they will turn this screw and over tighten it because the assembler's job is they think is to make that neck fit. So when we look at this, if this is not round, that means, or if this slot is too small, because this slot is always cut with the same saw. So we know how that slot should be. If that slot's too small, this whole thing is closed together. Just making the neck fit tight is not really going to be what we want to do. What we want to do is open this up so that this whole part becomes a cylinder again. And then we can make the neck tenon a corresponding cylinder and they fit together tight. Okay, so
there we are.
Ryan's got it down to 2. We got a lot of work to do, Ryan. Why don't we come back and finish this neck later, okay?
Yep.
Let's just talk about lapping a little.
That's usually what would come next is, you get it to expand it to where it's airtight and then you lap it so that it feels smooth.
And you're using the fine?
I usually use the super fine.
You use the super
Because I am in fact super fine.
Wow, I use the fine. That doesn't make me any more of a hack.
Any less fine.
I am a little bit of a hack, but so I use the fine. Ryan uses the super fine. We both are lapping this in, and we're lapping it in now so that if it gets on these pads or it makes a mess up here, we're gonna get rid of it. But notice, even though our video is slow, in real life we're remarkably fast. We actually have to slow down quite a bit to even do this, so the camera can refresh rate. So, but see, Ryan already has the paraffin wax on here. That's to save time while we got it off. While the key is off, he has glued the bumper on, and I got my bumper drying. And then we're fitting the neck, and we can lap the neck with the key off, and that's really nice because this isn't hitting. We get the whole thing lapped. We clean this up. We clean up inside the body, put the key back on, rock and roll. The whole thing has been done. Everything to do with the neck, and that's because we got the cool list.
Exactly.
For the list. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
No COVID high fives. Ryan's gonna go sanitize. Okay. I hate to see you go, but I left. Okay, here we go. Let's get out of. Okay, Ryan, I'm gonna come back over here. Okay.
so continuing where we left off. So we got the neck fit. Again, I'm going right on my list here. Neck bumper on the inside. This glue should be dry. I'll just stick that on. Yeah. There we go. The other thing I'll do is,
Ryan.
I'm assembling. I'll oil and grease it up at the same time using our Ultimax oils and greases. I can find my oil.
What type of adhesive are you using on the felts, Ryan?
I'm using our
glue. Contact cement. Cool.
Gotta get my oil. I'm prepared.
I also find maybe I got his oil right here. Nothing. Haven't seen it. No. Maybe
Kurt, are you using super glue on the felts, or because Ryan says he's using contact cement?
I'm trying to keep me on track. I'm trying to get off track. Yeah, I use contact cement, but I just did because I didn't want to give away the secrets, but I often will use super glue. And I use this gap filling super glue, and I like it on felts, but the problem with felts is it works so good that they're hard to get off. But this one, I just don't want it to fall off because this really can use a little modification, you know? So now this key's not going to open too much. And when it opens too much, it wants to hit here and here, and that's going to dent the neck. I will say this is these are solid nickel. These instruments are not made out of brass, so they're way less likely to dump, but at least it's going to put a little scratch on there, and that's going to make someone unhappy. So we got that. Plus, when you grab it to do some turning of the neck or putting the neck on, you want this thing to be there soon, like the next, probably in 2 months, this will be a little brass part.
Cool.
A little piece
You
of
see mine a little too long, so I'm going to get in there and cut some of it off. It's just a little tight opening up.
Okay. Yep. And mine was good going right on.
And Ryan, you're using a scalpel blade for your trimming versus a razor blade?
Yeah, I like the scalpel just because getting in here with the razor blade it's a little awkward.
Okay.
I like the scalpel, and I believe this is number 20 scalpel.
Oh wow, number 20. Okay. I'm going to put my neck aside, and I want to talk a little bit about the next step while you're doing that, Ryan. Is that cool?
Sure. Go for it.
So this is those places that's like different than a normal saxophone. You would pick up this and you would be looking up here often, and we would set up the 2 stacks. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the key heights, which is the answer to the question. The most important thing on a new instrument is the key heights. And I know that I'm like the key height guy, and we're like the key height place, and we love key heights, but it really is. Rich, back me up. Rich plays every one of these.
That's right.
I can get Rich to accept a play test by just changing the key heights. But we don't do that. But he will accept a play test with the key heights. But if the key heights are too low, he just won't do it. And we went through it here, and we raised them with Rich and all of us. And it was really clear that key heights are vital. And so you can have an instrument that's set up well. Factories, all of them, even the highest pro horn you get, the key heights are never right. I mean, it doesn't matter how much you pay for your saxophone, the key heights are not right. So let me show you some key heights while we're doing it. And then Ryan's setting up you're cutting bumpers, Ryan, for the bell keys.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're doing the C and the bell keys as well, like you said, to kind of open those key heights up.
So he's using a scalpel. I'm usually getting something in there behind the scalpel, so I got something to cut on, or I'm using a razor blade. If I can, we're doing the key heights from the bottom up to the next thing on the list is set the key heights from B flat to E flat. So when you open up these bell keys, that's going to change your left-hand table, that's going to change your G sharp, and that's going to change in relation to the stacks. So if you set your stacks and then you set your bell keys, in a way, you're going to have to mess with this. But what we do is we set up the bell keys from bottom to top. Then when we come in and if we do anything to our stacks, we can just adjust it to this height that's not going to change, which is the bell keys. And we can do that through the little sliders.
There's my C right there. Open that up.
Way open, right?
Yep.
Yep, way open. I got some pictures of the key heights before.
Yeah, you can see, yeah, this C sharp, I haven't done anything to this or the bell keys yet. You can see it's not really as high as we'd like them.
Oh, look at that C sharp, how low it is. I got a picture of mine too. This is a problem with everybody, like horns all over. And then the horn never plays good. And it's like, this horn's just a dud. No, it isn't. It came off the same molds. It plays just like all the other horns. There's no such thing. It doesn't happen. So there's something wrong with it. And it's often the key heights. Okay, let me show you the key heights. Here we go. So there's the bell keys. What's going on here? Here's the bell keys. When we're done, we do a lot of this by eye, but this pad cup here is going to be all the way up here next to this guard. This is this horn. I just took the pictures. Believe it or not, I just took these pictures. It wasn't hours and hours of preparation. Let me show you the C sharp. Look at that guy. Hold on. Look at that guy. Wow. That right there is a useless C sharp. It will never work. And someone's going to think that the low end, the C sharp, is just bad. And they probably won't even notice it for years, but they'll just have a feeling that something down there makes them feel not good. And they're already going to be feeling not good because of these key heights right here. Then, come on, computer. There's low C. Ryan's setting up his key heights. Ryan, can we see your low C compared to my low C, which is the pad for D? See that? See his compared to this one? Yeah. And let me see. There's low E flat. Did you set low E flat yet, Ryan?
Yeah.
Let's see yours. Yeah, look how I did it. There you go. Let's see that, Ryan. Right there, hold it still. Yeah, see how high it is compared to the one I'm working with? Way lower. That's 25 cents right there, folks. And that's 25 cents. And that is the difference between a horn that plays clean and a horn that plays stuffy. That one little felt that Ryan cut to make that work. So that's a secret. You can't see that yet. So we have changed, by doing this, we've changed the whole low end. Like, Rich, nod. Say that's true. That's true, isn't it?
That's
all
true.
The way from D down is like stuffy and ridiculous. Okay, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm going to do mine at the same time, Ryan, or slightly after the next one.
So I've opened up the B and the B flat, but you can see the C sharp. Okay, I adjusted the slider so it could open more, but what's stopping it is, I don't know if you can see back there, there's a foot we had put on to eliminate that C sharp bounce. So what I need to do is take a little bit of that material off, because it's set up like right there, the touch is still moving right here. I don't know if you can see both at the same time. Right here, right there, it's stopping, and then it can still move.
Yeah, we
So I
can
need
see
to
that.
take some material off that foot that's in the back. It's kind of tough to see. There it is, right there. So that's actually what's preventing that from opening up.
And so while you guys are making those adjustments, Sam Cook is asking about a curved soprano in the Wilmington form. And Sam, right now what we're doing is we are working on our tenor. Our tenor, the Wilmington tenor, is going to have some of the same bells and whistles that the Wilmington Alto has, like the side key contacts. And it's going to have what's that?
Nothing, Rich. I'm just joking. Go ahead.
So we're working on that first before we do a soprano. I know a few of you have asked for a Wilmington soprano, but the next horn down the line is going to be a tenor, and so we should have a prototype for that this year, and I'm sure you'll all see that once we have it going.
Yep, it's on its way. I saw the email. Yeah, we've got the prototype tenor on its way. But yeah, Sam sent his palm keys in. There it is, nice buried. Sam sent his palm keys in, put some rhinite on his palm keys and his slider screw. Looked really nice. So I hope he's enjoying it. So again, just take the material, sharp foot. First I cut it, now I'm using a little sanding stick
Paul, you were asking, Paul's asking about why not have the factory do that. And Paul, we talked about that earlier in the video. These are some things that we get up with the factory and give them feedback on how the changes that we want to make for the instruments when they come in. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It has been kind of an ongoing thing. Every time we have a batch made, because we have them made in small batches, we can make changes, and those changes happen fairly quickly. But yeah, this will be some of those things we're working with the factory, you know, kind of key heights. Like Kurt said, it's make it or break it.
And Neil, as far as a Wilmington-based saxophone goes, I believe it's on the project list. So it does, the idea of it does exist, which is pretty exciting, actually.
Yes. It exists.
I will, you know, to answer Paul's question a little more while we're working here, Paul, some of the thing about making these changes at the factory, that's the obvious answer and it's the right answer, but some of the stuff, it's like you make a change and then the factory has to deal with that, and it takes a little bit of back and forth. And we don't want to wait forever for the changes. We don't want to go back and forth and then finally get the prototype in with the change. And then by then we've already had 5 or 6 or 10 or whatever number of horns be sold that aren't improved. So what we're doing is we're getting small batches, make a change, and then in-house we get the horn up to snuff. These horns used to take a day to set up. Making all new rods, everything. Now that stuff is not an issue. Oh, nice.
There we go. Look at that.
Nice, Ryan.
Yeah,
Okay, and then
I got mine a little more.
You notice the C sharp, it doesn't do one of, you know.
Good. So that horn is getting set up. That thing is going to play nice. It'll be nice and open down there, and it's had thoughtful key height changes. And somebody should ask how we're measuring those key heights, but I'll say that we don't use a tool. We haven't found a tool that really works. And I know there's key height gauges, but they don't work. So we do these horns that we overhaul, we set up by sound. These we set up by eye. And we've set up enough of them that we just know how to do it. It's always me or Ryan. No one else sets these up.
Yeah, we make sure we lock the door so vagrants don't come in and start setting up Wilmingtons.
Yeah, some people tried to get Ryan's eyes, but we wouldn't let them have them. Yeah.
So now that I've set these up, we have a little bit of lost motion in this left-hand table to G sharp, so I'm just setting that up. I popped the leak light in to make sure I don't set it up so that the G sharp stays open. I'm just getting rid of that lost motion. Still feels pretty good. I can kind of roll around there. Pops. Just going on. Let's see here.
You're gonna bend a G sharp key, Ryan?
I'm gonna bend a G sharp, and we talked about this. It's right here. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bend it down this way a little bit. Okay, so it's just basically going to be a little bit closer to that G sharp. We found that the pinky to ring finger is just a little too wide, a little too far apart. So we're just going to bring it so that these two fingers are a little bit close together. Here's my Nipex duckbill.
Ryan, while you're doing that, Ann McMillan is watching, and I have a question for Ann that's very important.
Hey, Ann. We're you know. Ann's,
so Ann, if I could be so bold, Kurt said that you have this tequila knowledge that is beyond other people's, and not that you have too much tequila in your life, but what is the bottle of tequila that you go to? Because I know you have one that's a favorite, and I'm getting into tequila. And can you just tell us?
Well, we'll bring it on the inside. I can show you the G sharp. So it's just that little bit, kind of tweaked it down just a little bit. So it's a little bit more comfortable.
Are you talking the G key or the G sharp?
The G. I already did the G sharp. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you took the lost motion out from the G sharp.
Yeah, took the lost motion out from the G sharp behind here, these tabs here.
Wow.
Because when we opened up the bell keys, the touches went up as well. The G sharp didn't change. So there was, you can see here, a little bit of lost motion. So I just adjusted this. And again, my G sharp staying shut. If you over adjust this, then it'll actually keep your G sharp open, and then you'll have a leak. You won't notice it when you play your right hand, but if you play a G, obviously it'll come out as a G sharp. So,
Ryan,
yeah.
I want to just, can I interject and just say in general on saxophones that I think a thing that I want to get this key on before I say this. The thing that a lot of people do is, Matt, can you show this? A lot of people are setting up the bell keys and then come back and bend something here and then do something here and then come back and do something here. And we're not doing that. What we're doing is setting up the bell keys the way we want them. And then we're getting our touches to all work. And there's a video about that and whatever, but we're getting our touches to all feel good in their little plane where they live. Each of these things correspond to each other. And then this corresponds to the G sharp pad. And we're gonna just kind of worry about that later. So now this is done, and the G sharp pad is what it is. And we're gonna come back because we're gonna change materials down here because we like our materials better. So, and we haven't got the factory to do that yet, or we did, and then they stopped doing it. So now we have to go and get them to do it again. And we're gonna change the materials. That's gonna change the key heights and the relationship to G sharp. But all we're gonna have to do is fix this G sharp because all of this is now okay. All right, sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
No, you're good. So yeah, G pearls bent down. Next on the list, I have check and adjust palm key spring tensions just to kind of check those. What I'll do is I'll kind of put the light in and just kind of lightly tap it. And if you see it open up, usually that's a good indicator that you need to kind of tighten the spring tension. These all feel pretty good. The E flat might be a little light, so I might come back after, you know, if I have Rich play it and might give feedback, say, no, tighten up this, loosen up this. And that's kind of one of the things on our checklist is to go in and make the, you know, some of the spring tensions either a little bit lighter or a little bit heavier. Well, now what I have on is adjust the front app.
That's a factory thing too. That's a factory thing too. We'll get the factory to change the E flat spring because for 2 shipments, all the E flat springs have been too light. So we've been taking them off, adjusting them, or putting on a heavier spring. So the factory will do it. But right now, whoever your customer is, if you're setting up a new horn, is going to get the good horn, right? They don't have to deal with a problem from the factory. We already fixed it, or you did if you're doing this. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Lewis has a.
Go ahead.
Lewis just has a quick question, guys, about the height of the low B flat, B, and C sharp. Are they? You're doing it by eye. Are they all roughly the same by eye? Yeah. So,
yeah, they're all roughly the same. The B and the B flat have to be the same because of mechanical restrictions. The C sharp connects to the B and B flat, and so based on mechanical restrictions, they have to be the same. But if you know this style of C sharp, there's some monkeying around that can happen, but we're getting them all the same. The low C key we open up even more because we found the D to be stuffy, so we open it up the most, and the E flat we open up a little bit less than the low C key because E flat's not stuffy, really. And so that has to do with the venting and what's closed and what's open. So we did a bunch of them and we set them up, and then we kind of decided on a height and we just go with it. And then we have Rich play test every single horn, and then he knows what a good one feels like, but he also knows what a bad one feels like. And so sometimes he comes back and he's just like bell key heights. And then we look at it, it's like, yeah, it is a little bit low, right? But it's really dialing in, you know, where we have it dialed in and our play tester is learning, we're learning, and it's getting to be a much smaller margin. Good question.
Kind of show something here. You don't have to highlight it or anything, but this front F, adjusting the feel of it, you can see how it's, especially on this side, if I show you, how it's kind of kicked up right here. Okay. That's one of the things we make sure it's like this. So when I bend it, I'm going to kind of bring it a little bit more down. So it's a little bit more comfortable to move up, to slide. Okay.
And you're putting black ultra suede on that, Ryan?
I am. Yeah, I took the original material off, and I'm going to actually just go ahead and kind of dry fit it when it's on the horn. Then I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to apply our black ultra suede underneath that, and I'll show you as I'm doing that. So feel free to banter as I work away.
My banter would be that there's two types of dudes playing front F, and one of them is a roller and the other is a lifter, right? And a lifter can use a roller's horn, but a roller can't use a lifter's horn. So we want to make this a roller's horn. So what we're doing is we're bringing this closer so that it can roll. Remember, the front F in its resting position. A factory will do a horn like this. And this is something that these things, you need to go to the factory. And that's what we've done many times. But like, so you see that they're even, like to an assembler, that looks really good. They're perfectly even. But when you use front F, you push the B key and they're no longer even. So they need to be kind of even when this is in the down position somewhat. So the only way to do that is to kick this guy over, bend it down, and then take some of this material and get rid of it. What do we got?
You can see that how it's a little bit more level, so you can roll up to that.
Like it even looks low.
What now?
And like in its up position, it kind of looks low to the pearl, which it should be.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So for that, we had to take the front F off and do that. You know, while you're doing that, Ryan, I'll say we also, one thing that we do is we take 1 out of every 5 horns and completely disassemble it. That way we know that the rods are being, nothing tricky is happening inside there. You know, we have a good relationship with the factory, but you know, we're a business too, and sometimes there's issues, and factories are businesses and they have issues, and new employees, and this is stuff that even if we did it in-house, we would have this problem. So we just take 1 out of every 5. So there's a lot of things that we're not doing that we would have done on one of those, the random ones that we completely disassembled. All right, Ryan, where are we up to?
I'm putting the felt on. I forgot my mallet, so I will be right back.
I got you.
I'm still waiting on Ann. Ann, times are tough here. We really want to know about that thing that you got, that secret that you have.
Is Rich still talking about tequila?
I am. It's 10 in the morning here, and it's time.
We've hit double digits on the clock. It's definitely time. So that's the rule of thumb, right?
What are we doing, Ryan? Where are we?
Fred Hayburn is watching. Hey, Fred.
Hey, Fred. What are we up to, Ryan? What are you doing over there? I stopped.
Adjusting the front F. Yep, putting the black ultraswide on this key.
Okay, so Ryan's got that, and then he'll have the front F. He'll have the front F working good, and when he bends it, he's gonna have to grab it with 2 pairs of pliers, and he's probably gonna bend. He's gonna bend. Matt, can you show this? Matt's sleeping. He went for coffee. Anyway, he's gonna bend this key, and he's gonna bend it over this way to clear it from the little C sharp pad, and then he's gonna bend it back around the whole time, trying to make sure that there's not too much of a gap here. Too close and you pinch. Too far and you can't roll. Has to be just right, depending on the size of the fingers. Yep.
It's the Goldilocks setup.
It's the Goldilocks setup. Oh my God. Wow. Let's get
on that, people. Patent pending.
No, that's trademark. It's trademark, Ryan. And I've already put in for that trademark, so don't worry about it. The Goldilocks setup. Just right. Yep. Okay. The next thing, what do we got after our
Now, so this is the nice thing about having the list. I've got my glue drying on the key, and then also on the felt. Let that dry. Next thing on our list is side keys. Kurt, you want to talk about the side key forks, kind of that modification that we do to the inside of them as I'm taking them off.
I could use to see the side key contacts too, just to give them an idea.
That's a good one, Rich. Yes, thank you. So we have our side key contacts. I don't know if I can get a kind of a view here. You can kind of see it right through here. That's our B flat contact. This might be an even better view. Get it right down there. Okay. See this little guy right here actually contacts the body, and what that does is it prevents these side keys from getting bent out of shape. A lot of times the contact point is up here at the top of the fork. You squeeze down and then you can see the side keys will actually flex after time. They get kind of, out of alignment. So we have a contactor on our side B flat. That was one modification that we did and then had the factory do now. So we are sending things back for them to do. The side C also has a contact. You'll notice it's that right underneath where it hits that top post, or that post for that alternate F sharp. So again, you have no flex. The E obviously has one. It always has one. So the side keys feel solid. They're not going to get bent out of proportion through pressing them down so much. But the thing we do have to adjust is the inside of the forks. Yes. Hey, look, there it is. Kurt's got a diagram. Go ahead and zoom in on Kurt, man.
Matt, can you show this? I had to get some high-tech graphic people in on this. So what I'm looking at here is this is the pad cup, and this is that little side key arm that does like this. And the thing about this is if these lines here are straight, then this thing is only going to be good in one position. Let me show you another position. If this key is moved, can you see, like, if it was in this position, down like this, so the pad cup were here, you see that? If it was in that position, it would be hitting up here and down there. So this straight across thing is not really cool for side keys. And what has happened is, this is one that we've gone back and forth with the factory many times. We're trying to get the exact shape. It's a problem of manufacturer. They're used to wire EDMing their keys. They do it straight. They do it in one move. It's really simple. Now we're asking them to go back and either hand chamfer the key, or we're asking them to CNC machine it. And that requires quite a change. Just this one little thing is really a big change for them. And they're dealing with that. And they're doing it by hand now, but it's not perfect. And the material that they put in there is a little squishy. And so sometimes the side keys feel good, sometimes they don't. But the important thing is, no matter what instrument, if these are straight, this will only be good in one position. If you think it feels good in all the positions, you are kidding yourself, because it's not going to last that way. It's not going to stay. So what do we have to do? We have to round these out. We really only have to round out, you really only have to round it out like this. Here's a slightly less awesome drawing. But if you only really have to round out two sides. That way, this thing, it'll fit in this position, and it'll also fit in this position and every position in between. So when we're doing it secondhand, we round out just the two sides. But what we're asking the factory to do, and have been asking the factory to do, is this. Just make it round and awesome. Then this thing's going to work in any position, and it'll always touch on the top and the bottom, right? So this is actually quite a problem for us, because each horn has to get taken down. And we really need to get the factory to fix this, because the people who pay for us to tear these horns down are the people who buy the horns. And we're trying to keep the price reasonable, right? So we're trying to do as little of this stuff and just do what's necessary. Okay, Ryan, go ahead.
All right, if I can go ahead and get a close up on this. I've already taken the side key forks off. I had to take a couple of the keys up here, the G, the side E, the high F sharp, so that I could get to the side C and the side B flat. But you can see, as Kurt was describing, the inside of those forks, yes, there we go.
Yeah, are they straight now?
They are, yeah, they are there. So we do need to still chamfer those. Let's see, good close up
If I can take a picture.
So, for that, there's a couple different ways we can chamfer that. We could use Dremel. I know Kurt likes to use a Dremel with a ball burr. You could use sander if you're handy. You could use the silicone polishing wheels that we sell, the white or the black. I like to use the world's best scraper. Now, I'm not endorsed by the world's best scraper, but I wouldn't mind one. Okay, so I actually get in there and I scrape it, and then the next thing I'll do is I'll go in with either a needle file or some sanding sticks and kind of smooth it out. So I actually get in there, and it's where I guess the engraving skills come into play. Again, making sure I'm doing, the top side of this and then the bottom side of this here. I'll just take it and just kind of scrape away.
So Ryan, as you're scraping, what grit are you using on you're using a fine file, and is there a number on your sanding stick grit that you use?
Not necessarily. I usually use a needle file.
Okay.
What I'll do is once I kind of get most of the material kind of scraped away with this sharp scraper, I'll get in there and I'll actually kind of file it out like this.
Okay.
This was the top side here and the bottom side down here. So
cool.
This, kind of that angle Kurt was showing in his diagram, I can kind of smooth things out.
And you can also kind of do that angle while you're doing that, Ryan. I do like power tools. I prefer the power tool. And someone always takes the flat file out of my file bag, and I'm not going to say who it is, Brian, but I
got two of them. Why would I take yours?
You should have more than two, but you know what I have a lot of is these double roundy ones that I don't really need. I have like 4 of these, so it's really nice that whoever takes my file then replaces it with the double roundy one, because that's so useful. But I'm using this. And I'm not the roundy one. This is just for demonstration. This is the first time I've used this one. And I'll go through at the angle of the key. Is that what you're doing, Ryan?
Yeah.
So you're kind of doing both sides at once?
Exactly, yeah.
And you're using the flat file, right?
I don't know if I can zoom in on this so you can see it. Yeah, there it is. That top side angles up. Maybe you can see the bottom side kind of angle down.
Yeah, we can kind of see
it. Here like this, it kind of smooths both sides out.
Yeah.
Same thing with side B flat.
Maybe this takes a little bit, Ryan. Can we skip?
Yeah, keep going with this. Let's see what we have next. Well, I'll go back to here since I've been doing that. I've got the felt now. I can put on my front F. And I used to take a big square and then try to cut it out. Now I'm kind of, I'm not going to say cheating, but working a little bit smarter. I use round. I punch a hole, and that way you can see only a little bit over here hangs off, so I can just trim that up with a knife, and it still has a nice look to it. But yes, back to you, Kurt.
Back to me. So what's next on our list? While you're finishing that up, or if you want to skip it, Ryan, you can. I'll talk a little bit about this material. So what we're putting on is ultra suede and tech cork, and we're going to set up our key feet heights, or our key, not so much our heights, but we're going to set up the quieting material. So I have a little video for you to show you what it sounds like. And I don't know if we'll get all this on there, but let me share this video with you. If I can just use technology. Okay. I don't know if you'll hear it, but.
We heard a little something in the beginning there.
Heard that?
Heard it.
Yeah,
we could hear it.
Well, play it again.
Hear it? Okay, here it is one more time for Ryan.
Yep.
So it's a little noisy down there, and that's what we're trying to stop. We're trying to limit that noisiness, and what we're going to do is we're going to use ultra suede and tech cork on the back. The tech cork on the back is going to be the longevity. That's the hard backing that's going to give it some purchase, and the ultra suede on top is going to be the quietness that's going to last a while. So the tech cork on the bottom allows the ultra suede to be softer for longer. If this was a horn we were overhauling, we would put the tech cork on, then we would sand it to match, and then we would put the ultra suede on. But because these feet, we wanted to make this thing adjustable and great. It's hard to see it, but it has the extra long feet. So you can actually just bend the feet to get the key heights, and they're pretty much parallel. Well, they can't be parallel to a round body, but they have a lot of contact. So if we can get that, if we get that ultra suede on there, it'll be nice and quiet. And I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm gonna get this on there, Ryan, while you're putting your horn back together. Is that cool?
Well, I went ahead and skipped to save some time, but we did
Okay. Go ahead.
inside of the forks. The other thing that I would do is I would make sure that the key contact actually hits. Because sometimes, again, having these, it wants to bind a little. So I would do that. But I'm on the same step that you are, Kurt, where I'm taking the key guard off. So then we can go ahead and put in our material pre-glued, the tech cork on one side, ultra suede on the other.
While you guys are doing that, I want to shout out to Joe Stroll, who in the last video we talked about Joe winning the pad slick set that we came out with Friday, and Joe won it.
Yeah.
And
The artisan pad slick set, yes.
and we are very happy, Joe, that you won. And I really want to say thank you for Joe posted this awesome picture of all of his pad slicks that he uses. And he was like, I'm switching to these, or he said they were the best, or it was a nice picture. I was kind of amazed at how many pad slicks y'all have. Thanks, Joe. That's my thank you. Okay, back to you guys.
Joe actually the first one to he got it.
He was actually the first one, and he won. Yes.
All right, cool. It's like QVC in here sometimes, but better because
I think much better. Yeah.
No saxophone on QVC.
All right. So gluing up, did I interrupt something? Oh, okay. So gluing up the materials, we like to use these rubber bands to kind of hold the keys down so I can get under the feet and glue them in. So I can't actually wedge it. So I got to keep these feet open. So that's where I'm going to use these rubber bands. I know Kurt likes these.
I love those rubber bands. And we used to do the key material first because the horn was all rubber banded shut. But now we use it now because we want to open it up.
That's right. You can see the nice thing about using the rubber band is I can get in there and I can still close it.
Look at that. Oh my God.
So I'm going to get in there and put a little bit of contact cement on the body, glue the thing, make sure it dries, and then when I go to install it, I can put it in there and then use this to kind of smush it right where it needs to be.
Great. If you want to skip ahead to the next one, Ryan, I can glue this. I can put the bottom stack ultra suede on this horn because I want to show what it's like before we put that on and then after we put it on, because we're trying to only do things that are good. We want less bad and more good, right? We don't want to repair things that aren't broken because someone's paying us to repair this thing. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay. What's going on now? Where am I? So I've got them opened up. You can see. Am I going on to the next? Let's see here. Bottom stack feet. Put my material on. Yep. Bend bottom stack feet. You talked about that, how we can adjust the key height actually because they're long key feet. We can actually bend this up. So if it hits here, we can bend this up and then you can see how it would open up even further. So that's how we kind of set the bottom stack key heights. I'm just going to go ahead and do that.
Kurt, Joe said that he's having the entire shop try the pad slicks, which is really cool.
Oh, nice. Joe, give us an update. Tell us what we need to do better.
Yeah, let us know the names of the people that don't like them.
Yeah. Wow.
I kid. We don't want to know that information.
That might be the scariest Ryan I've ever seen. Right.
The air is getting a little thick in that pad room, I think.
Yeah.
It is
what it is.
It's very hot in this room. I got the fan, the doors closed. Woo! I'm humid up in here.
Are you putting your bottom stack material on, Ryan?
I am, yeah. I'm cutting the bits and pieces now.
I just really want to point out that this list really saves us.
Yeah.
Having this list, it just really helps us.
Yeah, no direction. We kind of do a little bit over here, a little bit over here. Doing this list of all the things that we need to do is important. And then putting it in order that makes the most amount of sense is probably the most important thing. And
the consistency. So each horn is the same. Even if there's a problem, it would be better to have the same problem on all your new instruments than it would to have different problems, because different problems is remarkably difficult to solve. But one problem, we just go, oh man, we've been using the wrong material. Well, let's switch to a different material. And then that's solved for everybody in the future, because we're not trying to make one good horn. We're trying to make them all good, and we're trying to make them continue to improve. And that requires a certain amount of thoughtfulness and diligence. So how'd you get on your bottom stack, Ryan? Did you get it on there yet?
I'm getting it there. What I like to do is I like to cut a piece of material, and I like to use these cross-lock tweezers or any tweezers that hold it shut. I'll dab a little bit of glue onto this, and then I'll use the actual material as kind of a paintbrush, get in there, dab it on. Again, letting this set up. We have time to do other things.
Hey, I got mine on, Ryan. I cheated with the glue a little bit. I might come back and take them off. But can I just show how the quietness
Absolutely.
or the noisiness? I hope it's not noisy. Let's see. I'm going to try to hold it right up here where the thing is, and here it goes.
I don't hear anything.
Where's the speaker on?
I just don't hear anything from the horn.
Here we go. So going down, it sounds the same. Going up.
Yeah. Much
Okay.
quieter.
Yeah, much quieter. So that's worth it. I think that we do that. Yeah. Ryan's putting his on, and Ryan, while you're doing that, I'm gonna see what's next. So we just did the bottom stack. We're gonna do the same thing on the top stack, and I'm gonna make the executive decision to skip that step. Ryan, is that okay?
I'm fine with that. Yep.
Okay. So what we're not gonna do right now is we just basically put the same material right up here on the top stack, and it's just two places, and whoops. It's just two spots, under the B foot and under the A foot. And actually those keys are not that noisy because they're smaller, they have less pull. Let's hear yours, Ryan.
Yeah, you ready? Yeah.
Good. So you hear it going down, not so much going up, rock and roll. Or if it was rock and roll, no one would care how noisy it was, but classically.
That's right.
Yeah. So the top stack's done magically, Ryan, and we're gonna move on to the next step, and I might leave you to do some leak work.
Yeah.
We're gonna adjust spring tension.
We got spring tension. Yeah. A couple of things we've noticed, certain springs being a little heavy, like alternate F sharp is a little heavy. So it's one of those that just to kind of lighten it up, it's one of those that you may not use alternate F sharp all that much, but when you do use it, it should feel like it matches the rest of the horn. It shouldn't feel, overly tight. I'm just going to lighten those up.
While you're lightening that up, Ryan, I'll just say a couple things about spring tension that we noticed. Spring tension is all about relativity. There's different keys around, but your spring tension is really important to the keys that you use with it. Like these three keys here, 1, 2, 3 on the side. We call these the side keys, but this is the E key. This is the E key. So when you push the E key, you push D, E flat, and E. So this is really a palm key, isn't it? It should feel the same as a palm key. You never go from E to the other side keys unless you're pushing one of the other keys. So this is the side C. Side C key should feel the same as the B because you push the B and you hit side C. You shouldn't have a heavy side C and a light B, right? The side B flat should feel the same as the 1 and 2. So basically side C and side B flat should feel about the same because you always use B and A when you push them. So we're just going through and checking that. We're checking how it is. The low C and E flat keys, those are like the bottom stack keys because they're on the same hand and you're going down. If all of a sudden you get to E flat and it's ridiculously hard to push, well, then something has to be addressed. Tonal has to be level, pad has to be level, and then you can lighten up that spring, Same with the low C key. The left-hand table should all feel about the same, right? G sharp key is somewhere in the stack. You play G sharp, you're not thinking about left-hand table. You're thinking about top stack. And all this should feel about the same. You play low B, you already took care of the left-hand table and you got this all down, and then this is its own thing down here.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that your spring tensions can be different all around. If you have a tight horn, it's all going to be tight, but there is a relationship between these keys to parts of the saxophone that if you're not doing a lot of sax work, or if you are, you might just not have thought about. So that's really something that we're looking at when we're setting up the key heights. And that's also something to explain to a manufacturer is really difficult without using all kinds of cool spring gauges and trying to get them to do something a little bit crazy. So mostly we just talk to them about spring diameter and rough idea about tension. And then we go in and we're doing some fine tweaking. And that's spring tension in a nutshell. Where are you at, Ryan?
I am putting some keys back on because, yeah, we've just adjusted some spring tension. Next on the list is leak work. So we're going to put these other keys that I took back off, the side F sharp or the high F sharp, the G, so I can pop the light and just double check doing some leak work.
Ryan, I know that we have articles on spring tension, and I know that you guys have given clinics on springs and adjusting springs and spring tension. So as a player, I mean, it's a pretty tactile thing, and it's nice that you guys are being thoughtful about it, to say the least.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Rich.
It's not just randomly going in and tightening and tensioning springs. So, like Kurt said, the groupings of notes should be kind of feel the same. Left-hand table should feel the same. Palm key should feel the same as your side E, certain things like that. So yeah, we definitely put a lot of thought into spring tension.
Ryan, I'm going to let you finish up with leak work, and I'm going to sneak out of here because I got a guy standing here staring at me. But I think we did what we're going to do. I'm going to leave this. I hope that the whole world doesn't explode when I hit leave. I love you guys. I hope, Rich, you're going to give something away, and it better be good.
Okay.
All right, it's just you and I, Rich, apparently. And then there was two. Well, Matt's here too, but he's, our director.
It's interesting. I think, so Ryan, as you're working there, I'm just looking at what you're doing. You're putting stuff back on the horn.
Back on. Normally, again, I'm just kind of doing this at the same time, but normally I would be filling the end of the hinge tube with some of our Ultimax oil. That's the other thing. If we take a key off, I'm always good to make sure I'm oiling greasing up the threads, adding oil to it. This is kind of an abridged version, so I can kind of get to some of the leak work.
Okay. So as you're working, you're filling pivots with the pivot and roller lube and using the syringe. Is that right?
Yeah, I use the syringe and just put a little dab in the end of the hinge tube, and then just assemble. For the rotted keys, like your top stack or this F, since this is a rod, what I'll do is I'll dip the threads into some of our grease, and then I'll just add a little dab of oil, kind of making my own kind of slurry almost. That's the nice thing about the Ultimax, not to sound like salesman, Rich, let me just take your dab here, is you can kind of blend these. You can, if you like a lighter oil, we have the low viscosity, so it's very liquidy. We have the medium, and then we have the thick. So you can kind of custom make your own oil mixes using all of this stuff.
So you're dipping the rod into the pivot and roller, and then what viscosity do you use?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of times over horns, the rods get frozen in the posts because they weren't oiling and greasing. So now time for a little bit of leak work. Let's see here, a moment of truth. Again, this was not prepped, so I'm going to take my leak light, pop it in, and I'm just kind of checking all of the pads from top down to make sure. Like here's one right here. Got to make sure I put my spring back on so that the key closes. There we go. Oh, there it is. I'm just checking the top stack, checking the A and the B, or the A and the bis, checking timing. Everything on this is looking pretty good, especially since we did a little bit of work to it. Yeah, everything's looking good. Checking the bell keys.
How about the G sharp? The G sharp adjustment. Can you talk a little about that?
I will check as well, because we did do a lot of manipulating with our left-hand table. There is a chance that we could have done something to cause this G sharp, you can see right there, to open up and create a leak. Like I said, you won't notice it when you're playing, A and B, but when you go to play G, it's going to come out as G sharp. And then won't notice it when you play F, because you can see this bar here will close it. So even if it's staying open, when you play F sharp, E, D, it's going to close it. Okay. So that's the other thing we're also checking for, is this adjustment screw. That holds the G sharp down. So because when you do play your bell keys without your right hand, the G sharp opens up, but your right hand again has to have that adjustment right here so that it stays, so that G sharp stays closed. That's the other thing we'll test. And I'll check with the light. The other thing I'll do is I'll check play testing. I'll finger something like low C and add my G sharp to it.
Yeah, I do that too.
That should stay the same. You shouldn't hear like a bow, that kind of sound. That means your G sharp is opening. So we check it two ways. We check it with the light, and then we check it playing it. I'll play test it a little bit. Rich will play test it. And then yes, Rich, that's him right here. He's on this side. Or this side. No, I'm sorry, it was this side.
Do you, can we tell them about the type of thread locker we use once it's all set up for the G sharp?
Absolutely.
Is that secret or?
No. That's a good thing. That's a good tip here. Yeah, that is one of the things. When it's all set up, we will put a little dab of Loctite on our adjustment screws. Here for the G sharp, here for the bis, and if we need to, here for the B over the C sharp as well. And the type of thread locker we use, Loctite we use, is low strength. Okay.
The purple.
Yep. So they have different degrees depending on how tight you need it to hold for band instrument stuff. We don't need it to hold incredibly tight. So it's just low strength. Don't use anything above low strength. Okay.
Right.
So Loctite on the adjustment screws, not the pivot screws. Okay. Don't Loctite your pivot screws in. Okay. just this adjustment, this G sharp. I call it the F sharp arm bar.
Yeah.
Okay. So we pop your G sharp and holds that G sharp closed. So that's where I will use it. But yeah, that is a good question. Yeah, low strength Loctite. Anytime you use it on any kind of band instruments, low strength Loctite. So yeah, and then on the list here at this point, I originally had Paraffin Wax. We obviously changed that to up here. It made a little bit more sense. We're dealing with the neck. Might as well do that there. Next thing we'll do is, after it's obviously it's been play tested, I think it's good. Rich thinks it's good. I'm going to wipe it down, wipe all the fingerprints off of it, put it back in the plastic bag, put it in the case, and then it's done. It's done.
Ready for sale.
So
I think Ryan, I think the thing that we should give away is, I think if whoever can name or tell us the number of how many extra of files Kurt has in his file assortment that he doesn't need. If you can figure out how many he said and message us, what do they win? T-shirt?
Yeah, we can do the
T-shirts
t-shirt.
are pretty nice. I mean, we haven't given one to Kurt yet.
Pretty nice here. So it's a little wrinkly, but that's okay. That's because I wear it all the time. I sleep in it. So, but yeah, I think that's a good giveaway.
I think they win a T-shirt if they can tell us how many files Kurt has extra in his file assortment. He's missing a certain number, and he has a certain number of extra that he doesn't need.
It's just a file exchange is all it is. It's
file exchange.
Not his files, it's our files. So, but yes. All right, I think that sums it up, unless we have any other questions. I see it here. We see already people answering. Yeah, so yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. That's basically what we do, to set up the Wilmingtons, brand new Wilmingtons in the shop. So when you buy a Wilmington, every single one has been touched by these two hands.
That's right. And this one.
Yes, and that one too. Just that. So, all right, I think that's about it, unless we have any more questions. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you, Ryan. And thanks, Chris. I think Chris just won. I think he just said the
missing a couple
thing.
hundred.
So, Chris, I'm going to get up with you, and we'll see you guys on Friday. Take care.
Fantastic. All right. End transmission, Matt. Transmission. All right. Thanks. Happy repairing.